Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Jo Ray Mi Fa So La Keto. I'm Jo Ray and I do vlogs and meal prep videos to share my keto health journey. I haven't posted a video in some time. We did have a sales meeting at work, so I was there for a whole week. So it was really hard to prep and plan for that week. And also being away and not having full control of my meals, I want to make sure that I get back and I get right back on track. I normally intermittent fast and eat 2 meals every day and a small bulletproof coffee, so I meal prep for 3 meals every week. The 3 meals that I'm making this week are a barbacoa salad, Zuppa Toscana soup, and a chicken cordon bleu casserole. The chicken cordon bleu casserole is made with keto chow, and I've made this in a previous video, so I will go ahead and post that link to that video below if you'd like to take a look at that, but I'm not going to show that in today's video. I'm making the barbacoa in an Instapot, and I've made so many different kinds of meat in an Instapot, so I have no idea why I haven't tried barbacoa yet. So let's get started and show all of the ingredients I'm using today. So there are a lot of ingredients for both of these recipes, and I've already done some chopping, but over here on this side are the ingredients for the Zuppa Toscana soup. So I'm gonna move this lettuce out of the way real quick. So we have, for the meat in there, we have some sausage and some bacon. And then instead of potatoes, because normally that's what's in like a regular Zuppa Toscana soup, we're using cauliflower, of course. I have onion, heavy cream, and then this is purple kale. So I had such a hard time today trying to get this. I went shopping yesterday to get all the ingredients. I ended up buying mustard greens and not kale, which I didn't notice at the last minute. So I had to run back to the store, get kale. This was the only kind they had, and then wash this. So that was fun. We also have garlic that is going in both recipes today. And if you haven't watched before, I always will link the recipes that I follow in the description below. So go ahead and look for that if you want to make any of this. For the barbacoa, I have the ingredients to make the barbacoa itself. This is a chuck roast. It's about 2.5 pounds. I think the recipe I'm following calls for 4 pounds, but you know, this is the size I have, and honestly, I'm probably not gonna eat 4 pounds of meat in a week. I'll also say the recipe that I'm following isn't 100% keto. I think there might be a little bit of like cornstarch or something to thicken it up, so I'm just leaving that out. If you want to use something to thicken, you can always use gum or Xanthan Gum if that's what you want to do. I'm probably gonna see just how the sauce ends up, and then I'll see if I want to thicken it at all. So in the sauce, we have chipotle peppers and a little bit of the adobo sauce that's in the can, some lime juice, some better than bouillon beef base, some apple cider vinegar, some garlic, some spices. So we have some ground cumin, oregano. It calls for allspice, but I have cloves and that's close enough. And then salt, pepper, also calls for some beef broth, but I'm just gonna probably use water there. For the barbacoa itself, I have my chuck roast. We're gonna do salt, pepper, oil. I have an onion right here. Some green chilies hiding over here. Not gonna use this whole thing, just about 4 ounces of it. Some tomato paste, some beef broth. Again, probably gonna use water, maybe add a little bit of this in there, and a couple bay leaves. Since I'm making a salad, I want to add the ingredients for the salad. So I have my lettuce here. This is just hearts of romaine. Oops, just throw it back over there. I have some queso fresco to crumble on top. I am gonna make some pickled onions. I have the red onions, so I'm gonna try to like quick pickle these. I know a lot of times when you have like a barbacoa taco, you'll see the pickled onions on top. So I want to pickle some, but then I also have some diced onions under here that I'm going to put and make a pico. So in the pico, I have the onions, my jalapenos, tomatoes, and then some garlic will go in there as well. Oh, and cilantro. So I don't know why, but my grocery store had no cilantro. Like that never happens, but I found this little lightly dried one. So we'll just add a little bit of cilantro in there. And let me know, are you one of the people that has the taste bud that says cilantro tastes like soap? I fortunately do not have that. I like cilantro. I think it can be a little overpowering though, so I limit it, but it does not taste like soap to me. So the first thing I'm gonna do is chop up this chuck roast and get it browned, and I'm gonna make all of that in the Instant Pot. It's gonna take the longest, so I'm gonna start on that first. So I browned all the meat in there, and I'm going to saute the onions. We're gonna let that go for a couple minutes until the onions are soft. This is one thing I love about the Instapot is the saute feature, being able to saute and pressure cook in the same container. I am all about as little dishes as possible. Now we're gonna add in our beef broth, or for me, water and some beef bouillon. And then we're gonna also add our tomato paste. It says to add 3 tablespoons, but I'm gonna add 2. There are kind of a lot of carbs in tomato paste, so I don't wanna go too overboard, and I just remembered too, I'm making less beef than this recipe calls for, so I'm gonna put a conservative 2. That wasn't even a full 2, which I think is fine. Mix that up a little bit. So that probably means I could have used less onion. So, you know, too late now. Then we're gonna add in our green chilies and the bay leaves. So we're gonna turn the saute off. We'll just leave it on to keep warm and get the beef back in there. So this is what I get for not reading the directions all the way through. The sauce does go in the pot, so I'm gonna go ahead and make that really quick. So we're back over at my blender. To make the sauce, you really just throw everything into the blender. So let's get that started. So these are chipotle peppers. I don't know if you've ever tried these. These are really good. They have a really good smoky flavor, and it's in adobo sauce. So we're gonna use a couple of the peppers and the sauce. I'm gonna have this recipe and maybe just go a tad bit over of what it calls for, just because I'm not using as much meat, so I don't want to have like way too much sauce. So here it is. There's really not that much sauce since I halved it. But don't inhale it. It smells really good though. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the Instapot. You really didn't miss much. I just put the sauce in the Instapot and then set the pressure cook for 60 minutes on high. The recipe does call to add the actual halves of the lime in with the sauce or in the Instapot, but I didn't use real limes, so I don't have that. But I think I may add a packet or two of true lime to give it just a little bit more of that like lime kick. And I really don't feel like I'm missing much. Some of the reviews on the recipes say that the limes make it bitter or it can be bitter, so I'll just leave them out. And I mean, I don't have real limes anyway. So now we're gonna go ahead and start on the Zuppa Toscana soup. The first thing I'm going to do is brown my sausage in here, and I do have the air fryer going. I put the bacon in there. You're supposed to cook it and then crumble it up and put it in here. I cut it in little pieces and put it in the air fryer. I've never really done it that way, so we'll see how it turns out, but it's really just bacon that we're gonna add in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze my tube of sausage in here. There we go, trying to get it so you can actually see what's going on in the pan, since I have such a tall pan on this one. So the Jimmy Dean sausage doesn't have, I would say, the best ingredients for a sausage. You could always just get a regular pork sausage and spice it up yourself. But since my recipes were so ingredient heavy this week, I didn't feel like doing that. Also, the recipe says to saute it in a separate pan and set it aside and then add it to this pan. I don't really see what the point is. I'm gonna cook it in this pan, take it out, and then add the other stuff in the same pan. So my sausage is all browned in here. I'm gonna move it to a bowl really quick. I checked on the bacon in the air fryer and it worked out perfectly. So I was really happy with that. That was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. I added just a little bit of avocado oil, and then I'm gonna add my onion and garlic and let that kind of cook together really quick. Then we're gonna add the bacon. Smells so good. And then I'm gonna add our water. We're gonna also get our sausage back in the pan. I like this too, just because you can kind of drain the sausage a little bit. It does have a lot of fat in it. And even though I'm not adverse to fat, I don't know, when it's in a soup and it's just like a layer on top, it's kind of grosses me out. It gives me a little bit of a weird mouth feel too. But I feel like there's gonna be enough fat with the sausage and the little fat that we get from there and the bacon. And then we're gonna add our cauliflower. And we're just gonna let this cook for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Let that cauliflower get soft, and then we'll add our remaining 2 ingredients, which is only the heavy cream and the kale. Sorry, I keep talking out of frame. So while this is cooking, let's go ahead and get our toppings together for the barbacoa salad. So if you remember, on the barbacoa, I am gonna have some pico, and I wanted to try pickling some red onions. So I have my little ball jar here, and I have my onions that I'm gonna throw in. This is about a half an onion. I never know how much to make. I've never made it before, so I'm not gonna go too crazy. But here's a half an onion, and I'm gonna use rice vinegar. Not gonna heat anything up this time. Just gonna put about half in here and then fill the rest of it with water. Maybe add some garlic. I might put in a pinch of some crushed red pepper, and that's it for that one. And there we go. So my kids just got home. You're probably gonna hear them in the background. My husband went to go help my daughter get some new shoes and some water shoes because we're gonna be going to kind of a little water park this weekend. So to my jalapenos, I'm gonna add my tomatoes. And I'm gonna add my red onions. You could really use red or white, but I kind of wanted the color contrast here. I'm gonna add some garlic. I did get the minced, I did want like the little pieces in it. So I'm gonna add some. Again, this is to taste. I don't have any measurements for this. I'm just mixing what I know normally tastes good together, right? Add some garlic, and then I'm gonna add some cilantro. I feel like it needs more cilantro. And then I'm just gonna add some salt, and that's it. And this smells so good. I know this is gonna be great on the barbacoa. So right now I am just waiting for the barbacoa to finish pressure cooking and then my cauliflower to get soft. So I'll go ahead and come back once one of these is done. So my cauliflower is all soft now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my kale and the heavy cream. So kale's a really hardy vegetable. It will kind of wilt just a little bit, but it's not gonna wilt like spinach or anything will. I'm just gonna get that down in here and let me add my heavy cream. So the recipe calls for 1.5 cups. I just think that's a lot. I'm just gonna do 1 cup. And I did forget to add in my chicken bouillon. The recipe calls for chicken broth, not just water, and of course, you know, I never buy broth. I'll just use some of this. And then last, I'm gonna add some salt and pepper and let this cook for another 5 minutes or so, and then it's done. Okay, so our Instapot just beeped. Ooh. I did a manual release and then I took the lid off, and we're gonna get all of this beef, which is super tender, falling apart, shredded. So my daughter has on Heeley shoes, so she's rolling around everywhere. You can probably hear her. And then I am gonna discard the bay leaves. So looking at the sauce, it is pretty runny, but I'm gonna put this on saute and try to use some tarragon to thicken up. I'm just gonna use a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe like even 1/8 teaspoon first, just to see what that does. And then we can always add more, but I don't wanna take any away. I know there's another bay leaf in here that I gotta find. Bay leaf, where are you? Does anybody know what a bay leaf does? I know it adds some kind of flavor. I'm not really sure what it does, but I know you're not supposed to eat them. Okay, let me double check this again. It's still not as thick as I want it. I'm gonna add a bit more tarragon. I'm gonna add the meat back in. I don't know, I feel like the meat to sauce ratio is a little off. There's a lot more sauce than meat. Still can't find the bay leaf. Maybe one day. I'll watch out for it so I don't eat it. So the last step that I'm gonna do, I don't know if this is still as thick as I'd like it to be, but I don't want to over thicken it because I know the tarragon will get thicker over time, so I'm just gonna let it be. I'm gonna broil this. I'm gonna try to get as much of the shredded meat as I can on my plate or on my sheet pan and broil it and kind of crisp it up and char it a little bit for at least 5 minutes. Might turn it over, do it once or twice, kind of like I would do with carnitas. Found it, found it. Ha. Okay, that doesn't look too appetizing, but we're gonna put it under the broiler. Okay, so today is the day of not reading instructions. So I was only supposed to put in as much sauce as I wanted back in, so I did overdo it on the sauce, but here it is after I broiled it for maybe like 10 minutes. I probably could have done it more, but I'm hungry and I want to put this together and try it. I'm gonna put together the barbacoa salad. I have my barbacoa, I have my pico, and I did add some more garlic and some onion powder in there too because I didn't cut enough onion, but I did want some more of the onion. I have these pickled ones. The water's already turning a little bit pink. I would say you would want to keep this in there for a couple hours before you try it, but I'm probably gonna add a couple on there just to see if I like the way that tastes. I have my lettuce, and then I have, oh, hold on. Then I have some queso fresco. So I'm going to just crumble some of this on top. So let's get this together. And I'll also get a cup of the Zuppa Toscana soup and we'll try both of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the barbacoa salad first. And as I'm thinking about this, having that extra sauce is probably a good thing because I'm making it in a salad and I'm not adding any like salad dressing or anything. So in a way, that sauce is my salad dressing. So I'm gonna try a bite first without the pickled onion. That's really good. I think you could make this into tacos. Maybe get some of the egg life wraps, the Southwest ones, and wrap them up in there. But I don't really mind not having like a taco. The meat is really flavorful and that's really yummy. I want to try a piece of the onion. So here we are. There's a pickled onion in there. I don't know if you can really see that. I really like that. It adds like an acidity. The vinegar with the onion doesn't taste really like onion. You taste more like the vinegar. A little bit of the onion, but that adds a lot to it. Like, I'll probably add a couple more of those when I eat this week. Okay, so let's go ahead and try a bite of the Zuppa Toscana soup. Again, trying to get a piece of everything in there. That's so good. I did get that. He ruined my bite. If you've ever had Zuppa Toscana soup before, it comes with potatoes. I don't really miss potatoes. I like the cauliflower in here. And you see the kale, it's wilted, but it's still pretty hearty in there. I like what it adds. I know some people don't like kale, don't like greens, don't have to have them, but I really like the texture it adds to the soup. I'm gonna go ahead and eat the barbacoa salad for dinner tonight. And then I'm gonna portion out the soup. I like putting them in these like ceramic cups that I have that are like a perfect size for soup throughout the week. So then all I have to do is grab a cup, warm it up, and then I'm ready to go. Again, the recipes that I followed are listed in the description below. The barbacoa recipe is not keto. It does ask that you add cornstarch to thicken. Of course, that's the only thing that's not keto, so I will still link that below. But that's all that I have for this week. So please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon to get a notification every time I post a new video. I'll see you next time. Bye.